Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. It is not a Victory Monday. It might be a bit of a bitch and moan Monday. I think it might be a little bit of that. Whatever, we got great coverage of the Bucs, 31-26 loss to the stinking Falcons. And, of course, we'll go over the college football weekend as well. Lots to get to. We had a great hockey game on Saturday night. We got a bigger one coming up tonight with the return of Steven Stamkos. And I'll say good morning to you. Oh, let's don't lie to the viewers. We're taping this Sunday night. That's why it's dark. But we got all the Bucs material you will ever need. Good morning, Nick Geddes. How are you?
I'm doing great now that I'm done watching football for the weekend. You know, I put myself through the ringer. I travel to cover every UCF game in Orlando, and then usually on the car ride home, I turn on the Florida State game to keep an eye on them. And then, of course, on Sunday, I watch this Bucs team play football, and particularly this week and last week. What am I doing to myself? What am I doing to myself?
It's an excellent question. It's an excellent question. As fans of sports, sometimes you have to ask yourself, is this really a positive influence in my life?
I'm just happy.
Is this really how I want to spend my leisure time?
I'm just happy for when it comes to UCF and the Bucs. At least I'm getting paid for those two things.
Well, there
to
you
watch those things. So that softens the blow a little bit. For Florida State, I'm just a fool. I'll admit that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, collegiate teams seem to be the most emotional attachment. Right? Seems to bother you the most. I mean, here I sit. 61 years old, and have been a Florida State fan for over 40 years and had plenty of ups, plenty of downs. But it's like now it's like, what is this? Why am I spending my time and why am I letting it affect me in an emotional way? Like I'm a grown ass man. Stop this. Jesus.
We're just in the apathy stage now. It's like we're past anger. Just in the apathy stage.
And it's worse when your significant other is like, laughing at you while you sit there.
Yes.
And they're just mocking you, and they're like, "Oh, it's
just a game. It's just a game."
And you want to try to explain it, but you can't. It's not going to make any sense whatsoever. You know why? Because they're right. We are idiots. We are. You can't. You just try to defend it, and you're like, "No, I'm just an idiot." But that's who we are. That's who we are as sports fans. We live and die with this crap. We are so sick. But that's who we are, and that's what makes it fantastic. That's what makes the high so high and the low so low. And I'm going to tell you this. If you went to that game, Bucs game, you had a great time. I think if you're really emotionally invested in the wins or loss, it sucks as you go home. But let me tell you what. It beats working, in the garden on a Sunday, on a July Sunday, It's football season, and you guys witnessed a hell of a football game. That was an entertaining game. The fans were into it. It was loud as I've ever heard it in Raymond James Stadium. And there was lots to cheer about. Almost every play was almost like the old Jameis days, every play's exciting. Yeah. By the way, congrats to Jameis on the big dub over the Ravens and Lamar. Jameis beats Lamar. Who had that on their big bingo card tonight? Not me. But it was electric, and it was a hell of a football game. And the Bucs did an amazing job with the creamsicle motif everywhere. Everything you saw was creamsicles in 70s. They honored the 79 team. Gene came out at halftime, and they honored the 79 team. They all came out and looking good, guys. It was really, really cool. So well executed. But once again, the creamsicles come to curse you. And that's all they will ever do.
Can anybody on that team rush the passer? Do we know?
Not in a creamsicle uniform. No.
Okay.
And not in a pewter and red uniform either. Clearly. No, it's the curse continues. But no, they can't rush the passer. And as I sit here, we're going to do this in reverse. And before we get to the meat of the game and the individual plays, and we'll talk about all. By the way, I have a great angle of the Winfield strip at the goal line that a local Fox, what's his name? We'll give him great.
Sean Barry.
Sean Barry got a great shot of it. So we'll talk about that play. But from 50,000 feet, I'll say this. This team is 4-4. It has a lot of good parts. And I just don't feel like it's time to throw in the towel on this season. I think a lot of people are like, we shouldn't spend resources to go get players. This defense is awful. It's not getting any better. Well, it could get better. I think if you go maybe sign a veteran linebacker and go sign a edge rusher, it doesn't have to be a rental. These can be guys that you can invest in the future. Maybe somewhat seasoned players that are on losing teams that you can give up some draft capital for. Because think about this now. Jason Light has gone a perfect 13 for 13 in his last 2 drafts. His last 3 drafts have been fantastic. He's got a lot of young players playing. So you can afford right now to spend a couple of pieces in draft capital, I believe, and bring in players that are not going to be rentals, but future Buccaneers that can solidify your inside linebacker position, solidify perhaps an edge rusher. I know you're not getting a premier guy. Just get me somebody that can win 5 out of 30 snaps because we got nobody coming off the edge right now. Nobody. The pass rush is non-existent. So I think, and maybe a veteran receiver as well. I think if you invest in a few of those things, and you're not going to have to give away. I'm not talking about 1s and 2s, but you're going to give away a few draft picks. I think you should do it. I think it's worth it. I think this team is worth it. It's got some good pieces to it. It's just, and we could say the defense is trash, but they're a whisker away, and they are. But they're a whisker away from winning these games. They're just making critical mistakes at really bad times, and they have gotten hosed by the refs. I don't. You can call me a homer. You can call me a fanboy. Whatever you want. These refs stink. They are awful. Even the adjudication of the game was incorrect today. I'm sorry. This crew's awful. I haven't seen so many blatant face masks missed that have changed the outcomes of games, including Bucky Irving's in the first game against the Falcons, Sam Darnold's. The adjudication of this, the call on the goal line was ridiculous. That was clearly a fumble. Why does the NFL not have a pylon cam or a down the line goal line cam at every stadium installed permanently? You can do it. Those goal lines aren't moving. Okay. The camera, you can put cameras up and they're ready to go. Or you can have pylon cams. I talked to the Fox techs after the game and they admitted, yeah, this truck doesn't have pylon cams and it's not one of their higher end production teams. Now the number 2 when outs crew was working it, but in terms of a production team, it did not have all the bells and whistles that a lot of others have. So no pylon cam. And there you go. So anyway, I think this team is worth it. It's too close to winning. You got a 4-4 record. You're better than you were last year when you made the playoffs at this point of the season. You got 2 games coming up, probably L's, but I think they might be able to steal one of them. And even if they lose both and fall to 4-6, the rest of their schedule is very, very winnable. 10 wins is very, very doable. Hopefully Mike Evans comes back. Again, go get another experienced receiver, which I think they still need, as shown by the Jalen McMillan issues today. I think you could do some things. So anyway, do you think it's worth it on this team? I mean, I do. I think it's worth investing. I think this team could do something with the soft schedule. You can't ever throw away an opportunity to get back into the playoffs.
Man, you're a lot more positive than I am tonight.
That's okay. Be negative.
You're a lot more positive. You said they have some good parts. Well, all the good parts come on one side of the football. That's it. This defense stinks. They stink. I mean, they're at right now. I haven't had a chance to look at the updated numbers since the entire slate has ended here, but I believe they're 31st in the NFL in total defense this year.
They're going up.
They're like 27th or 28th in points given up.
Yeah.
I mean, forget getting pressure or getting sacks. They can't even get pressure. They don't do a single thing well. They don't even stop the run well anymore, JP. Like, you used to be able to hang your hat on that. They don't do that particularly well. Special teams, disaster. Like, they don't do anything well. in those two phases of the game. It's all offense. And that's the part that really sticks out to me from this game today.
Go ahead and say it.
What?
Say it. Say it. Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles.
What you said before the show. That's the narrative. We're 10 minutes in and we haven't taken any direct shots at Bowles.
I'm sick and tired.
Sorry about that.
I am sick and tired of watching this Bucs defense week after week after week, and with the communication issues and the busted coverages.
Oh my God.
And no pressure. And I'm hearing this, and Bowles says it week after week after week, and it doesn't get fixed. And again, he has been the defensive play caller for now 6 seasons. 6 seasons. Most of the guys that are on that defense have been in his system for multiple years.
That's right.
Why the hell is this still happening? And it's you're asking your offense to carry so much of the load right now, and it's just not a sustainable way. You cannot play football this way. And Todd Bowles, to me, it's like it's all scheme from what I can tell. Like, I think there's clearly there's talent on that defense, but there are some major scheme issues going on right now. There's some major coaching issues from what I can tell that is going on right now that's plaguing this team. And I'm frankly over it. Because it's the same stuff every single year, and now it's happening routinely. I mean, Kirk Cousins has thrown for 800 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2 games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's right.
And today, just as it was in Week 5 on Thursday Night Football, it's a stroll. It's easy. There's no big wow throws that Kirk Cousins is making. Not to take anything away from him, but it's so freaking easy. It was easy for Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football, and it was just as easy for Kirk Cousins in this game. And that's the part that frustrates you. You don't even disrupt anything. You give it to them.
Right.
There's no resistance whatsoever. So
here's a stat, that just compares this defense to the rest of the league, because the Falcons and the Bucs are playing similar teams, obviously, that Kirk Cousins has thrown for 8 touchdowns against the Buccaneers, against 1 interception. In the other 6 games that he's played, he's thrown a total of 6 touchdowns. I mean, so he's averaging 4 per game against the Buccaneers, but 1 per game against everybody else. That's awful. And that's an indictment of your defense. And, and let's just hand it to Raheem Morris. He schooled Todd Bowles today. He schooled him in every way that one can be schooled. He schooled him on 4th down calls. I mean, old Raheem brought the big onions with him from Atlanta. There's no doubt about that.
Why would you not? I don't even care if it's 4th and 10. How would you not go for it against?
Yeah, that's true.
Defense?
I mean,
they won't stop it.
Yeah, how brave
they won't stop it. I mean, hell, Kirk Cousins picked up a 1st down with his legs today, like a 12-yard run or something. God. It's comedy hour.
I think it was longer. It was his 2nd and 22, and made it 3rd and 1. So he ran for 21 yards.
It's comedy. It's comedy hour. It's comedy hour. Every single week,
Kirk Cousins they go throwing it back to the 70s, the creamsicle, man. It's like shades of Bobby Douglas running down the field at the old sombrero.
Yeah,
as Kirk Cousins rumbles down the middle of the field, running away from Buccaneers for a 22-yard scamper. Yeah. That's really set up the kick at the end that made it an 8-point game. That was a huge play.
Before that, though, the play that really put this game to bed, and I knew it then, that was it, was the fake punt decision. And here, man.
So you don't punt. You go ahead and punt. You don't go it on 4th and 3, and you punt from their side of the field. I think it was the 2nd quarter. But in this particular time, you go for it. Even when they switch they go to punt safe into another formation, you don't call,
on the broadcast, Greg Olsen was going nuclear on the decision there to not call out of that because of the look that you were given.
Right.
You made it so super obvious that you were going for the fake right there.
Yes.
And you had no shot. And here's the thing. We all talk about Todd Bowles trying to get aggressive and do things. There's context to all that.
Yes.
In the context of that game, there was no reason for that. The only people that were stopping the Bucs offensively in that game were A, them, and B, some of the refs sometimes.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. You were moving the ball at will. And your defense at that time, if I recall, was actually starting to make some stops a little bit. They were starting to grow into that game. And then you immediately just make that boneheaded decision, give it back to them, and they go and score. Now it's a 2-score game. Game's over.
No.
Game's
terrible.
over. So Todd Bowles, once again, is a zero for you.
So let's if we can recap the past few weeks. All right. You go into Atlanta and you lose a game that you should have won. Just quite frankly, you blew that game. And once again, 0 adjustments by the defense, and you get torched over the middle of the field for 370 yards. Just 0 adjustments from a schematic standpoint and your defense gets torched. Last week is the debacle of losing both of your receivers, and y'all can debate it all you want. It's, in my opinion, those are both on the coach. And I talked to a bunch of guys today in the local media, and we all agreed. We all agreed that was a boneheaded handling of those situations. And it's consistent with Todd that he doesn't see the big picture in games. His game management is terrible because his head is in his play sheet, and it's hard to call plays and manage a game. And I'm not giving him a pass at all. But he needs to realize he can't call plays anymore if he's going to be a head coach. And I don't know if he'll be a head coach much longer, frankly. I don't see it. His game management has been and will always be awful as long as he's calling plays. Even when he's not calling plays, maybe it might be the same, but it doesn't matter. Why is he? I mean, if he doesn't call plays, will the defense get worse? God, I hope not. I mean, Todd Bowles is the narrative that comes out of this game. And what he did last week with Evans was hurt coming into the game, hurts himself during the game, and he sends him back out on the field. That's a bonehead call. And maybe it wasn't him personally who did it. Maybe it was Liam Cohen. I don't know who makes that decision, but it falls on the head coach. Disastrous decision to put Mike Evans back into the game. Who couldn't predict that he was going to hurt his hamstring again? I mean, hamstrings don't get better during a game if you keep running. They just get worse. This is as obvious as anything in football, and you set him out there. That's a bad decision. Yeah. And then with 99% chance of losing a game 3 times analytically in those last 3 possessions, you still have Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield and Tristan Wirfs out on the field. Even the announcers are like, I don't know why they're still in the game. And you cost Chris Godwin the rest of the season. That's on the coach.
He's one disastrous decision after another. It's what we've come to, and it's like he can't hide the criticism anymore. No, I have to put it on the dude because I think his coaching decisions and what he's doing defensively and everything that falls on that side of the ball is all on him. Okay.
Yes.
So that's why I particularly take aim. And again, the frustrating part is without 2 of your top 2 players on offense today, you still managed to score 26 points. Yes. 26 points should be enough to win most football games.
And probably left 10 or 14 on the field.
Exactly. You stopped yourself. And because Baker Mayfield just up and down.
I'm going to talk about Baker, but
But he was part of it today. I mean, 2 interceptions, both in the red zone. Not great. Both decisions you probably shouldn't make. But to the point, though, it's like you finally have this, like, one of these creative, innovative geniuses calling plays, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everything is clicking. Liam Cohen did a great job. Yeah, Liam Cohen did a great job today. Like, you finally have somebody you can trust on that side of the ball, no matter the personnel, that they're going to get the best out of they possibly can out of the offense. And it's being wasted. It's being wasted. That's the part that stinks. And if Todd Bowles is the head coach and the offense continues to do this, well, Liam Cohen's going to be getting head coaching shouts. He's probably already moving to near the top of the list of most teams, and he'll be out the door getting a head coaching list. And Todd Bowles is still your head coach. And then this is why when you have
that may be a decision the Glazers have to make, a la Dirk Cutter.
Exactly, and we're a long ways away from that, so I don't want to jump too ahead of myself. But I can't help but think of it in the moment when I'm watching what's going on right now. Because if this continues down this trajectory, Todd Bowles is bye-bye. Yeah. Bye-bye. Has to be.
Yeah, as much as we love Todd as a human, and we really do, and yes, he won a playoff game last year. The team he directed was within 8 points of going to the NFC Championship game. I get all that, and he gets a lot of credit for that. There's no question.
He does.
But what we've just described are coaching decisions that turned out poorly. Now, you could debate, what his culpability is in any of those decisions, but what you cannot debate is all those decisions turned out to be disasters. They did. It's a bottom line. And that's not debatable. Your game plans have been disasters. Your handling of these injuries have been disasters. Your game management is a disaster. All of it. If you're 50-50, you're doing okay. But you're not 50-50. And these are major decisions that you're making that are crushing your team. So listen, this is a big boy league, and that's why you make the big money. These head coaches make the big money because they have to make these big decisions. And if they work, you get to keep their job. And if they don't, you don't. You get a very nice party gift, tens of millions of dollars. But, these guys want to coach and they want to get it right. Todd Bowles wants to get it right. He's just got to be kicking himself like, damn, everything I try just is not working. Well, that's the NFL. And right now, it ain't working for him. Let's go ahead and run the Bowles press conference and just so you can get your fill of the reasons, and he puts it on himself, but judge for yourself.
Coach, you were down.
Oh, my bad.
Back to it.
I got to cue it back up. Sorry.
Stand by.
That we were going to run the fake against. We saw the look earlier, then it kind of switched up on them at the last minute, and they got us.
Was it you call that off then if you saw that?
It was kind of late at the time.
Could not abort.
That and
the field goal.
Flicker, it seemed like some gambles there that both kind of worked against you. Did you feel like there was any had to do more to try and get back into that game?
No, I don't think those two caused us to lose the game. I thought we made some defensively. We made some bonehead plays in the first half, and we missed some things. We got some penalties on offense in the second half. It's hard when you're playing against the Bucs and the Falcons at the same time. You cannot beat two teams.
Man, I've heard that one a lot.
A lot of those
good go-to cliche.
Explosive plays on defense too.
Lack of concentration. I mean, these are day one things.
That's the new miscommunication is lack of concentration.
We didn't play it right, and there's nothing new we put in. There's no chemistry to it. We just got to play better defensively, and we got to coach it better defensively, but there is no excuse for it.
And then what did you think of Josh Hayes' performance in the second half?
I got to watch the tape. He fought hard. I know he didn't give up too many balls. So, he's a tough kid. And as far as I know, he played well. I'll look at the tape and see.
Was that one of those things where he would have Thunderbird just on performance?
Yeah, based off performance. And they were neck and neck anyway. We wanted to get them in there. And we thought we needed a spark, so we put them in.
The first four games, you held all 4 opponents under 26 points or less. And now the last four have all under 27 or more. You talked about individual things as communication problems or a lack of concentration. Why do you think that regression defensively?
It's a good question. It starts with coaching. It starts with me. It starts with the defensive coaches, and it starts with players. We got to play better. We got to fix it. Nobody's coming to save us. We got to do a hell of a lot better job than we're doing, and that starts with me.
What are your thoughts on the offense today in terms of what the opponent was able to
it takes
together with that?
The culpability, that's for sure.
They fought. They did some good things. They had time of possession. They made some plays. You don't like the false starts, but overall, those guys fought hard. 26 points should be enough.
Did Baker try to do too much after he threw the touchdowns with those interceptions?
No, he didn't. He played within the scheme of it. We're trying to win a ball game. You're going to make some plays, and you're going to give up a few here and there.
Yep.
Last year, you guys got the 3-1 start and then lost 6 out of 7. And obviously, you still made the playoffs, but not the way you want to get there. This year, it's a 3-1 start, and now you've lost 3 out of 4 with 2 tough ones ahead. Is it frustrating because it's playing out kind of the same way it did last year right now?
No, it had nothing to do with last year. It's frustrating because we're making mistakes beating ourselves, and that's the part we got to clean up. We can't play ourselves plus the opponent, and whether they're tough ones, easy ones, no matter who we play the next 2 weeks, we got to play better in order for us to win.
Tom, what was the explanation that you received from the official when they reviewed the Kyle Pitts touchdown? It looked like Winfield got him at the goal line.
They said they didn't have a clear side view of it.
Did it look like he got it before the goal line?
Not a referee. I wish I could make the call.
Tom, what was your message to the team in there?
So we got to fix our problems. The problems are in the locker room, but the answers are in the locker room. From coaches to players, we got to stay together, and we got to fix us, and we got to get moving.
Well, I mean, a lot of the same from Todd Bowles, and what else is he supposed to say? Now it's a lack of focus or concentration, I guess he said. look, these guys have been in your defense for a long time. And we thought when Winfield and Cansey got back that this defense would get better. It's gotten worse. It's
in every area.
It's weird.
They can't tackle. They struggle to have situational awareness. The middle of the field is still wide open. Your linebackers are just playing horrible right now. And by the way, when I say that, I know people are saying that, or people are thinking I'm singling out KJ Britt. I don't think Levante's playing that great right now either.
No,
and that hurts me to say. If I may speak honestly, Levante David has lost a step. Yeah. And that sucks to say. He doesn't have the same speed anymore. He can't make up for some of the deficiencies around him like he used to be able to do. Yeah. And when you have Britt next to you, I mean, I think that's a big part of why this defense is failing right now, because it requires so much out of your linebackers. And the Bucs right now just have no speed at that position, and that's what's really hurting the defense, in my opinion.
No playmakers. And Levante, I think, is hurt. I think his ankle's bothering him, and he went out today with an ankle. I don't know if I think he may have come back into the game, but he wasn't. Wasn't playing like he can. Yeah, this defense is allowing 33.8 points per game in the last 4. That's crazy. And here's another stat from John Romano's column. 53 teams in the Super Bowl era have averaged 29.4 points per game or more, and 52 of them have gone to the playoffs. So this offense is good enough as a playoff offense. And I'm going to here to tell you, the way they played today, 400-plus yards, was way better than I thought they would play. I thought they would really struggle today. And I know people are getting on Baker, but I'm here to tell you that Baker, he's a gunslinger. He's a bona fide gunslinger. And he understands that when your defense is playing this poorly, you have to take chances down the field at some points. They have to be calculated gambles. Now, the one down the rail that Terrell came over and got, he came off his man. And this is starting to be a recurring theme, by the way. Kyle Hamilton's, both of his interceptions last week, he came off his underneath man, broke his rules, his coverage rules, and got Baker. And you could see that the other guys picked up on that today, because both of those picks, or one of them, that one on the sideline was he came off his man. And it could have been a touchdown, but he's not seeing these guys coming off. It's a good play by the other team. It's taking a chance, though, because when you come off your man, you leave that man open. And if the quarterback sees it, like Kirk Cousins does, he's going to get you. But if you don't see it, and Baker's not seeing it, and it's kind of happened simultaneously, so it's tough. But I'm going to take those picks. It was a 50-50 ball with Ryan Miller. Probably not the guy to do that.
No. That one bothers me way more than the other one, because okay, so I don't hate the flea flicker. Yeah, I don't hate the flea flicker call, because 2 weeks ago they ran a similar play, and the ball down the field, which typically you see the flea flicker go to, was not there, and he checked it down to Sean Tucker, and Sean Tucker ran 44 yards for a touchdown.
That's right.
So I don't hate the call, but Baker has to know in that moment, it's 24-17. It's still at that point in the game, you're moving the ball at will. Okay. You're stride for stride with Atlanta's offense, I thought. There's no reason to force anything like that. And up until that moment, I thought Baker had been playing a pretty lights out football game. Like nothing too crazy. Like he was doing exactly what we said. You don't have to be Superman. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just take what's in front of you. And he did a good job of that. And then in that point, he takes that shot. And like you mentioned, it's Ryan Miller against Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is the best safety in football currently.
It's hard to calculate that in the moment, though. You see a guy open.
But he did the same thing 2 weeks ago where it wasn't open. He checked it to Sean Tucker and it turned to a touchdown. Why couldn't you do something similar in this game, or just throw it away? It's first down. You're on their side of the field. It just doesn't need to be thrown there.
Yeah, but that's not the reason they lose the game.
No, it's not.
Baker's the reason you're still in the game. I thought he had a really, really good day. 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's the first, what's the stat I heard today? 3 straight games with 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't think any Buc quarterback's ever done that before. So he's putting up numbers. There's no question about it. And listen, I will say this. Those 2 first drives were absolutely perfect drives. A 17-play drive, 97 yards.
Outside of after the fumble.
Yeah, after the fumble. The second 2 drives, right. So, and even the first drive was going great until, they had 3 straight good runs.
Yeah, until your running back 3 fumbled the ball.
Yeah. And that was a tough play. That was a great punch out. He's almost down. He's getting taken down, and the guy, the next guy comes in and takes a shot at the ball. That's it. And he took a shot too. Rashad did. That was a tough one. You're gonna. He's not the only black in the league that's gonna fumble that ball. That was a tough one. But it hurt you because it ends up, on 4th down. Here's Raheem going for it on 4th down, and what happens? Merriweather falls down in coverage, and there's another wide open receiver running down the field. Last week, I saw the stat. I forgot who came up with the stat, but PFF had the Bucs defense as the worst coverage defense last week. An average of 5.3 yards separation, an average per completion.
Yeah, I can see it.
That's that's unheard of. 5+ yards average. That means there were. And how many times do we see Mark Andrews standing in the middle of the field with no one within 15 yards of him? It's just, how is this happening week in and week out? You don't see this all over the league.
Yeah, explain to me too on the Bijan Robinson touchdown. The Bucs rushed 3.
Yeah,
I believe, which means they dropped 8. Anybody want to explain to me how the running back is wide open in the flat for an hour?
Yeah,
when you have 8
we
that
don't have
drop
enough
back.
guys rallying to the ball to get him on the ground.
Again, and if you ask Todd Bowles that question, what is he going to say? Communication, lack of concentration.
The communication is he's not communicating to the players what to do, or at least in a way that they can handle it. Because maybe he's.
And by the way, it's not all. And again, it's not all on the guys that are behind the defensive line. Because if the defensive line had any game wreckers that were interested in putting any sort of pressure on the quarterback, this would help. And you saw when there were times when they were able to actually get pressure. Yes, when there were times they were able to get pressure, you saw Kirk had to throw it away. We saw that. We saw that in other games that they've played this year, but it just does not come consistently enough. They don't have a true dog on the edge. And when you watch other teams around this league, like the teams that have that guy, man, it just changes so much and it covers up so much as well. The Bucs just don't have any of that. And you thought it was going to come from the interior. Again, it's been in spurts, but it's just never consistent.
That's the fatal flaw of this team. They just have no pass rush right now, and that was a concern during this year. But we all said, well, Bowles is a master of the blitzes and creating pressure, and
they send blitzes and those don't even get home.
Yeah, and now they're getting picked up and they're getting burned for touchdowns on them. So adjustments need to be made, and they're not being made. This is the week-to-week league, and you got to adjust. You got to self-scout, and the Bucs are not doing a very good job of that on the defensive side. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I'm going to get into some really egregious calls against the Bucs again that, yes, I think cost them the game. Wasn't the reason they lost, but these calls are not just willy-nilly calls. They're terrible and have incredible consequences. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES If you're having issues with your insurance company from the hurricane, they might be able to help you with that. Any other legal issues, it's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They are local and they get results and they are trusted. Non-attorney spokesperson offices, St. Pete and Tampa. Back in 3. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you could find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey, Tampa Bay sports fans. This is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to GettysGordonGroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by our great folks, the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo and his team will get you right, whether it be your testosterone, your nutrition, your sleeping cycle, your workouts. Get a personalized plan for all of those things to help you stay healthy. That's what it's all about at BAMMC.com, staying healthy. Medicine 3.0. Make your appointment right there at the website. Tell them JP sent you. All right, partner, let's get into a couple of these, what I thought were game-changing calls, and it was a quick sequence. I believe, what was that, second quarter? That the Winfield play? Yeah, second quarter. I think that made it, a 2-score game, if I'm not mistaken. But so here's the play. Show us from the Fox angle. This is one of the local photographers for Fox 13, right?
Yeah, this is Sean Berry from Fox 13. He happened to be right there filming right next to the pylon, which...
this is our pylon cam then.
This is your pylon cam.
Fox would not give us. Yes.
So here was his view.
All right.
Was it a touchdown? Was it not a touchdown? I was shooting the game at about the 1.5-yard line, so keep that in mind as you watch him cross the plane. The more I watch it, though, from my camera angle, Winfield strips him. Ball's starting to come out behind him. It appears before he crosses the plane. The more I watch this, the more I think it's a fumble.
Yeah, and it's just as simple as that. If they have a pylon cam, that call is reversed. But I'm standing right next to him. If you look at the up top, is the actual official, like 4 yards away.
Look, you can see it right here. I just broke it down right there.
How do you miss this call?
The ball is clearly below the plane and it's coming out right there.
This is the angle that the ref had. He's right there. How do you miss this call? And this is egregious. What's going on? And I don't. And so the next sequence of plays. So this is basically a 7-point swing right here. Obviously, if that's a touchback, those points are coming off the board. The Bucs have the ball and they're moving it offensively. It's a huge call.
Yeah,
obviously.
this was Pitts' second touchdown.
Yeah.
So this actually made it 14-14. The Bucs were up 14-7 at the time.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So it's a huge play. It's a huge play in the game, and the refs blew it again. And the reason they said the call stands, so it's the original call that becomes the problem here. And call stand. Now, if they say call is fumble, I think it stands as well.
It would have stood because
you don't have the angle.
You had no angle to show you. Like when Mike Pereira comes on my screen and he sort of is like almost about to break out in a chuckle, and he's like, "Yeah, they determined that they just didn't have a side whatever." Like at home, I'm just like, did I just hear that properly?
Yeah.
Like that's what we're doing in the NFL that likes to brag about how many billions they're making every single day.
It's crazy.
And we can't get a pylon cam.
Or a fixed camera along the goal lines attached to the stadiums. These are not hard things, folks, in this day and age.
Crazy.
Yeah. The remote cameras, it's easy to do. So this is a crushing call for the Buccaneers, as was the lack of getting the face mask on Bucky Irving. We can go through 1,000 of them.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though. Like the Bucs had many other reasons why they lost the football game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They don't need, but it's these little plays, though, that they all sort of add up throughout the flow of a game where you don't know the situation after this. I mean, it would have been a safety or a touchback? It would have been a touchback, right?
Yeah.
A touchback. And so you get the ball back. And at that point, again, your offense was just coming off 2 drives where they just straight up the Falcons. Who's to say they don't do it again and you go up 2 scores? Like,
yeah, it's
these things. It was the same thing last week against Baltimore.
Yeah.
A big momentum shift was when the Bucs scored to go up 17-0, I believe it was going to be. And it gets reversed because of a phantom holding call on Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah,
like
terrible.
These aren't necessarily reasons why the Bucs lose the game, but they just seem to always happen at these certain moments where like the momentum's about to switch and the Bucs just fail to recapture it.
So after this, the next series, the Bucs start a drive, and then there's a personal foul call on Payne Durham for a chop block. And you roll it back, you watch him, and he whiffed on the block. He didn't touch Matthew Judon. How do you get called for a block below the waist when you don't make contact with the player? How is that? Oh, his intent was what? No, he didn't hit him. It can't be a foul. You even heard Baker Mayfield when his mic was still on, the ref's mic going, he never touched him. How do you make that call? And that was a big play. That was a gain, I think about a 20-yard gain. And so you're at midfield instead. You're back at your own 10-yard line with the penalty. That's a killer call. And then they punt it, and the Falcons come back and take the lead. That's a killer call. What are we doing? I mean, how do you make he didn't hit him. Brutal. That's just brutal.
Well, I also thought that Sam Darnold got brought down by the face mask on Thursday night, but clearly that didn't happen either because as the ref told us after that game, we didn't have a good look at it, so we couldn't call it. Even though I have one ref that's staring right at it.
Yeah,
like you're lying to my stop lying to me. Stop lying to my face.
At some point, this is not incompetence. At least that's what you and there's so much more money being gambled now, right? With the legalization of sports gambling. It's probably up 3-4 fold. And you have people losing lots of money over these calls. I think the NFL right now has a real credibility problem, in my opinion. Like a big time credibility problem, because this doesn't seem like incompetence to me. It's too prevalent. It's too like, how do you miss these calls? Maybe you're not missing the calls. I mean, you want conspiracy theories? Well, then ref your games to a somewhat capable level. I mean, it's amateurish. It's amateurish. It's like watching high school games or little league games where you see just egregious calls missed, and you go,
"That's what I'm saying."
I mean, that guy's an English teacher. What do you expect? These guys are professional officials, and these are egregious things that are happening and being called. And the ones I hate the most are that last call. I mean, at least with the Winfield one, it's a bang bang play. I could kind of see how you missed it, but not really. You're paid to make that call. But the other one, the phantom block, like unless it is an egregious foul that impacts the play, you should not be calling a penalty anyway. That means you're almost looking for penalties. Oh, I saw him going low, and I pulled my flag out and I threw it, and then he never touched him. Well, then pick up the freaking flag. Pick it up.
It's almost like a police officer that just, and I saw one of these yesterday when I was driving home from Orlando at like 12:30 in the morning. Like nobody on the road, and he's just picking out on the side where you can barely see him. And you know what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of what it's like here with the NFL. Like it's kind of what it feels like. Like they just have their hand on that yellow flag and they're
make
just
a call.
They're just waiting to do it. It's just they have to meet a quota.
Yeah. Bad. So let's talk about let's talk about the offense now. I thought they got away from their game plan a little bit.
Agreed.
I think, and I actually talked to Dave Archer, who's the Falcons color analyst, of course, comes on our show all the time. And he goes, I was really surprised that the Bucs got away from the running game. He goes, because I just felt like, as from a Falcons perspective, he's like, they're running it down our throats and we can't stop it. And that's where you want to be, right? That's where you want the other team to be. They can't stop our running game. And they couldn't. No. By the way, how did Sean Tucker get 3 touches?
Well, I'll tell you why he got 3 touches. Because they went away from the run game, number one. Right. And when they started going into all these pass situations, Sean Tucker was never going to touch the field because they don't trust him to pass block.
50,
so that's why he
didn't play. Bro. 50 passes.
Yeah, that's egregious. That's egregious.
When they were never down more than 2 scores in the game. You should never come out of your game plan unless you get out down 3 scores.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As good as the offense played in this game, like that could not have been the plan to throw 50 times with this group of receivers and then run it 22 times. They ran it 22 times for 106 yards. Like, how do you get away from that? Like Bucky Irving in particular was doing his damnedest too to pick up yardage. He ran great today. Even Rashad had some good runs. Like they got McMillan out on an end around. Like, I mean, they were really doing some good things in the run game. But yeah, like you said, they just got away from it. And the game was in striking distance the entire way, just about. Like, it's not like you were like, I get it at the end a little bit when it's 2 scores, you got to throw.
Yeah.
But before that, why? Why was, I mean, because if you look at it today, like Cade Otton, Bucky Irving, and Rashad White did a lot of the heavy lifting today in the passing game. It's not like you were getting like these crazy contributions in a significant way from the pass catchers.
Right.
Like, I mean, so why?
And there was the play across the middle where, this is emblematic of what I was talking about all week long. When you have experienced receivers like Godwin and Evans, they know what to do in certain situations. There was a play over the middle of the field where it appeared that Baker missed a wide open Jalen McMillan. And what happened on that play is the safety, the covering the other half, the safety covering his deep half bit up on a route, and he got behind him, and the other safety had already pulled up on the curl. And so instead of turning up the field, up the numbers, running away, and that's obviously a sight adjustment for the receiver, you don't run into coverage. Don't run yourself into coverage.
Right.
And so it's a slight adjustment, but Baker – And plus, he didn't get his head around. You got to get your head around when you're 15, 20 yards down the field, son. Come on. And these are just little things that he'll learn. But it's costly in this situation because Baker throws the ball up the field where he should have been continuing, and that's a touchdown. And that's not on Baker. That's on the receiver.
No, that's on McMillan. You got to at some point, you got to cut that route.
Yeah.
And you have to understand the situation. Like
if you get your head around and you see the quarterback looking at you, then you can adjust to the ball. But he didn't even have his head around.
But what he was doing, it looked like something that you would see rookie receivers do that just don't look like they're really confident. Is he looked like he was so focused on just running the perfect route.
Right, exactly. And you got to adjust. And that's why I thought this offense would struggle with the wide receivers this week, because Palmer and Jalen and those guys are just not. I thought Shepard would be have a little bit more production today. Boy, Baker missed him late. There would have been just a little bit overthrown.
No, thank God for Cade Otton, who
oh my God, as he showed up. I was shocked by his not only his, how about the hurdle. The hurdle play down the middle of the field.
I know, some athleticism.
And it was right after, as I was watching the television copy, and it was right after Greg Olsen said, because I think the play before Otten had fought for a first down and just barreled over 3 people, gave it the old Mark Bavaro Gronk thing. And he said, he's not flashy. He's not going to do crazy athletic things. And then the next play or 2 plays later, he's hurdling down the middle of the field. And I was like, I think he heard you, Greg, on National Tight End Day, by the way. The 2 tight ends had a huge day.
Yeah, I guess we got the answer to our question, at least for a week. Like, who's going to be the wide receiver 1 without Mike and Chris? Well, it's Cade Otton.
Yeah.
It's going to go through him. That's Baker. Baker seems to have a really good connection with him. I had some clown tag me on Twitter today about how I called him just a guy on last week's show. You know what? His body of work told me he was just a guy.
Who's today
that? Some clown who got in my mentions today. Because I said he was a Jag. And
you talking about Cade?
Yeah, because I said he was a Jag on last week's show, I think. I think I said
he has been.
It's kind of what he's been.
Yeah.
But today he played the best game I think I've seen him play in a Buccaneer uniform, and he deserves credit for that. Last two weeks, he's been tough as nails. So shout out to him.
Yeah, he's playing really, really well, and he'll need to. So I thought the offense played well today. I really did. I think given the hit that they took and how predicated this offense was on those 2 guys, I thought it was going to take a massive adjustment. I think Liam Cohen did a masterful job today this week in his game planning and execution. I thought Baker was good, not great. He was good. I'd give him a B-, maybe even just a B. But those 2 turnovers hurt a lot. But he made so many other plays to keep you in the game as well. So I want to play this sound from Tristan Wirfs because I think it's kind of where I got my tone, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit more optimistic than a lot of people who just want to, cash in the season and fire the head coach, which I totally get. Maybe listen to Tristan Wirfs and look at his demeanor and see if maybe you change your tune after this.
We knew guys had to step up. We have to, as an O-line, help those guys. We can't put all the pressure on J-Mac, Palmer, Cade, all these guys. We can't just have them shoulder. We got to help them out with the run game too. And I thought we did that today. Over 100 yards, I think again. That always feels good. But it does sting. We didn't come away with a win. That's you can erase all that stuff. But we didn't get the win. So that's tough. But like I just said,
there's some positives.
As far as the psyche moving forward, are you able to rely on a little bit of last year and just knowing that you guys have been in these positions before where you've taken multiple L's in a row and have found the other side of it?
Yeah, I don't know if we can rely on it because you still got to get through it. It still sucks. It ain't Tuesday's not gonna be fun watching the tape. Seeing everything that went wrong. We've done it before, but it's gonna take some. Everyone's gonna lock in. Everyone's gotta be dialed in. To come through it. We got a big test next week, Monday Night Football in Arrowhead. So, we got a big test there. But, we've been through it before, but, it doesn't mean we're going to make it through it again. So everyone's got to dial in a little bit more and try and stay positive. I said it earlier in the week, Coach Canales last year, very positive guy. And, we got to try and all keep everyone's heads up, keep everyone's spirits up because it can suck. You just got to get through it.
You got to channel your inner Canales.
A matchup like, having the Super Bowl champs next week to kind of get yourself up and to, really test yourselves.
Yeah, it's Monday Night Football. It's electric. That's what you grow up watching, So
Tay-Tay's going to be in the house, for God's sake.
You're doing the wrong sport. No, it'll be fun. It's going to be, played them
I came this
couple
close
times
to
now,
asking
2-3
him about
times
Tay,
now.
but I decided not to.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game.
Chiefs really are more defense.
After a loss, it would have been.
It sounds weird saying that with Patrick Mahomes in there. So
Not good.
Their defense is up there. With the best in the league. What is that challenge going to be like for you guys?
I think big challenge for us up front. Good D line. Obviously, they got Chris Jones, George Karlaftis. Good guys across the board.
Dogs.
It's a big test for us up front, and I know we'll be on top of our stuff. Got to go out there and do our job. Thanks. Thank you.
Any more positive? No, nothing.
Well, I'm supposed to be positive when I look at the schedule and I see that, I've watched what Sean Payton did to this defense. I watched what Todd Monken did to this defense. I watched what Zach Robinson, first year play caller, by the way, did to this defense. And then I look at the schedule and I see Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. Where's my optimism supposed to come from? I mean, the Chiefs right now, the Chiefs are 7-0. They have not played their best football, and they're 7-0. Okay, I'll tell you right now, the Chiefs are magically going to figure it out next week. They're going to magically figure it out next week because they're facing the Bucs defense, and I bet you right now the Chiefs are going to turn on that tape on Monday, Tuesday, whenever they start game prep for the Bucs defense, and I'm telling you. I mean, they make Kyle Pitts look like Mike Ditka. I mean, could you imagine Travis Kelce in the middle of the Bucs field? I can see it. It's going to be all day. It's going to be all day.
How bad is this defense? This is how bad it is. Taylor Swift is texting her boyfriend right now going, hey, this week you're going to have a big week. I'm going over on my Hard Rock for you, all your numbers. Even Tay-Tay knows her boy's going to have a big week because the Bucs are the worst against tight ends in the league. She might even write a song about it. It's so bad. The Great Wide Open. That was a Tom Petty song, right? She's gonna do a classic remake of The Great Wide Open in honor of the Bucs interior defense, the middle of the defense.
I listen. I hate
the Great Wide Open.
Let it go.
Goes Travis Kelce and everybody else.
Yeah. All I can say is, I wish I could offer you positivity. I mean, as for those of us, who cover the team or watch the team as a fan, nobody likes what's going on right now. I wish I could.
They came back from losing 6.
That's not a general baseline that you can follow.
You heard Tristan say it. They've done it. Look, I have the schedule right here in my former Nicholas.
Are you gonna bet that they're gonna do it again?
Well, listen. Even if they lose the next 2, which they could go,
they have the worst defense in the NFL.
All right, so maybe he turned it around last year. How'd they do that? Here's the quarterbacks you got after the next 2 weeks. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones.
He'll figure it out. I promise you.
The Red Rocket at Carolina.
It might be Bryce.
Might be Bryce by then.
Career game incoming.
Career game. How do you revitalize his career?
And I already know the next name you're going to bring me, and I have my rebuttal.
I don't even. Is it who's is it O'Donnell now, or is
it's Gardner? It's Gardner Minshew, and Gardner Minshew already beat this defense last year.
That's a good point. That's right, Gardner Minshew. All right, so then you got Justin Herbert and the Chargers looking pretty good. And then you're at Dallas, Dak, but the Cowboys will have cashed it in by then.
Yeah, you might got me there.
And then Carolina, you can go 4-6, and then I think you can win, 6 of those games.
Yeah, I listen. I think
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you win 6 of the 7? Yeah, I think you can. And if you split one of the next 2, then you don't even have to do that.
It's doable. I don't know how likely it is, but it's certainly doable. And like I said last week, you have to steal one of these 3 games right here. I just thought it had to be Atlanta, and Atlanta was the most important of these 3 games because now the Falcons have essentially a 2-game lead in the division.
Yes,
that's where this is so difficult for the Bucs right now. Is you are down 2 games in the division. The NFC looks loaded right now, and I don't think there's another team coming out of the NFC South. in the playoff hunt. And so that's where this thing gets difficult. And the Falcons, it's not like they're going to play a difficult schedule necessarily.
No, I'm actually pulling that up right now. So they are at they're home to the Cowboys next week. How are the Cowboys doing as we tape this?
Not great. They have 10 points.
Then they're at the Saints, who are awful. They've lost 4 in a row now. Or is it six in a row?
They are the new worst team in the NFL.
Then they're at the Broncos at Mile High. That might be tough on November 17th. Then they host the Chargers. Then they're at the Vikings. So that's not, Cowboys. Cowboys sometimes. And the Falcons, Falcons aren't that great a team. We're not giving them automatic wins over the Cowboys.
No, the Falcons
or the Broncos
just look really good
against the Chargers or the Vikings. The Falcons could go 0-5.
The Falcons have only looked. The Falcons have only looked like they should against the Bucs.
Against the Bucs, right? Yeah. So of those next 5 games, I'm telling you, they're losing at least 3 of them. At least 3 of them. Then they're at the Raiders. Okay. Then they got the Giants. We both play the Raiders and the Giants. Then they're at the Commanders on December 29th. That's not a tough. That's not an easy game.
Yeah, I guess it's the same.
So they're not going to be favored. Let's see. They won't be favored. I'd say they've got some tough games left. This is very doable for the Bucs. If they could just slow teams down to like 21, 24 points a game, they can win. They can win. And Bulls found a something last year where they went on a run, and I think, quite frankly, they're a better team this year than they were last year. I think.
Oh, because the offense the offense will probably steal you a game that your defense is, just hung you out to dry. Like, we have confidence in that. The offense can sort of play in any sort of style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just Todd Bowles sometimes is his own worst enemy with some of the other things that we've talked about here today too. That's the wild card in it, this JP.
Yeah.
It's not just offense, defense. It's also, what is Todd Bowles going to do from an in-game decision standpoint?
Right. All right, we'll take our second break here. When we come back, we'll hear from Baker Mayfield. Then we're going to get into the FSU Miami game. Some very interesting comments from Mario Cristobal that we have for you there. And we'll talk about some of the other things around the NFL and the Lightning, of course. Steven Stamkos coming back tonight at Amalie Arena. This is going to be something special, something interesting. Had an interesting talk with Brian Engblom about this on our postgame show on Saturday, so I'll share that with you as well. Lots more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Italiano Insurance. You got to get that flood insurance, folks. Only 18% of you in Florida have flood insurance. Ouch, babe. That's why so many people are hurting right now, because it flooded in places that it doesn't usually flood. We told you about this. So go get it. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you, and do it soon, because prices are going to go up for flood insurance. So make sure you jump on that right now. 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine, where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at rogersparkgolf.net. That's rogersparkgolf.net. See you there.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. They have just created a whole new men's section for you men's. So head on over there and get a baller watch, necklace, rings, whatever you like. Buy something for your honey as well. But that men's section is sweet. So maybe you're not a big jewelry guy. Maybe you should be. Go get yourself a little bling bling. And if you have some old gold jewelry or diamond jewelry hanging out, turn it into cash at the Golden Diamond Source. 3800 Almaton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, the Bucs fall 31-26. We've been talking about it all morning long to the Falcons now go 0-2 in the division, and clearly two games you could have and should have won. But again, a lot of coaching decisions coming into this. And Baker Mayfield taking some heat from the masses. I get it. So what is that? 2 picks today?
That's 9 in his last 3 games.
9 is that's not good. That's not good. They're not all on him, but I feel like he's feeling the pressure that he has to win the game by himself, and he needs to just stay more within himself and stop taking as many chances. Let's listen into his post-game presser here. Here's Baker Mayfield, the sweet Godwin creamsicle, by the way. Somebody asked the first question.
To the job that Liam Cohen did without Mike and Chris, the game plan to put you guys in position to have a chance to win this game over 400 yards. You guys were rolling on 3rd down.
Yeah. I mean, unreal job, just getting everybody ready, obviously having different ways to attack them. Run game worked. I thought the O-line played great, but he had everybody dialed in. And I think, Liam obviously calling the plays, but then as well as the guys that were in there stepping up and doing their jobs how they're supposed to. So it's just comes down to, once again, not shooting ourselves in the foot in critical situations. And against a team like that, they're going to take advantage of the mistakes that you make. And I think that's why, you see the outcome we had today.
Cade Otton had a big day with 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What can you say about him stepping up in a game where you kind of needed him?
Yeah, I mean, Cade's a guy that, sometimes gets overshadowed by, the rest of the skill group that we have, but he does a ton of the dirty work, does a lot for this offense, run game, pass game. And today, he made a lot of plays that we needed. And, today was just an example of him getting to showcase his skills. And obviously, he's a very intelligent player, just being in the right spot at the right time in some of these zone coverage plays that we had dialed up, but he did a great job.
Baker, take us to the flea flicker and then also the one interception down there.
Yeah, flea flicker. I think, honestly, Bates made a hell of a play. It looked like Ryan Miller almost, had it in his hands. It looked like Bates just kind of stole it. That's the type of player he is, though. And then the one down the red zone, A.J. Terrell just – truly falling off of his man in a match coverage set that, obviously, you look at it, he's not supposed to do that, but he made a hell of a play. So that's one of those things that I really don't have much besides he made a hell of a play.
You guys have lost 3 out of 4 now the division. It's hard to regroup with the next 2 games you have. But how do you get back on track on the road in a tough place like Arrowhead?
Come together as a group, and that's the only way you can. The guys that were here last year understand what happened around this mid-season point, and it's do the little things right, and that's how we got out of it. And so this group that we have right now, you just got to do your job, and that's plain and simple. We have the talent in this room. You know, we moved the ball today. We moved it up and down the field, and so we just have to do the little things right. We have to come together as a team, and obviously in an environment like we're headed into on a Monday night in Kansas City, we know what we're gonna, we know what we're gonna get. So it's execution, do the little things right, play the field position game, and see what happens. But we have the veterans, we have the leadership we need to make this thing work, and that's season's not over. We're not even, I guess, halfway done. Yeah.
The downfield connection is something that usually takes some time, and obviously you've had it with Mike. You've had connection with Chris. Just how would you assess how things were going on that? It looked like things were starting to kind of come with Jared in the second half there.
Yeah, those guys were in the right spots. There's the thing about the one to J Mac down the end zone. Obviously, I've thrown to Rock a bunch. He's a guy that I trust down there in contested catches, things like that. But J Mac on the deep shot down in the end zone, just little things like landmark throws where we're trying to get this thing caught. And that's a lot of the things on the deep ball connections. It's timing, it's landmarks, and giving these guys a chance. And you just have to continue to do that.
Ricky and Jared ended up catching the Hail Mary about a yard out of the end zone.
Yeah.
What did you think? Did you think that he caught it in bounds? You knew it was too far?
Initial reaction, it just looked like a mosh pit back there. And all I could see was in the white, from the Jumbotron angle. So kind of one of those things that you get your hopes up, but then realize it didn't work. But, for our guys to fight, to get into that situation, you really can't ask for much else. We were in that game. All you can ask for is a fighting chance, and we had it. Obviously they did a good job of covering the sideline in that last drive. Just had to take some completions in the field, unfortunately, that ran off some clock that we could have used, but did a good job of trying to get down there. And then obviously you just have to lock in and try and find a way to win.
Baker, I think you had maybe 5 or 6 guys that had 4 catches or more going forward without Mike and Chris, at least without Mike for the next couple of games. Do you like the diversification of what you have? A lot of guys that can make plays, that can catch the ball, that can produce yards, points for you.
Yeah, it's for me. It makes defenses really kind of play their base calls. It's not like you can call some of these coverages where you're trying to get over the top of Mike or double covering Chris and some of these things. So it's easier for me to see, to go through it, but then it's same thing. It's more important for our guys to be in the spots at the right time. So it's about execution, little details that we have to do, and that's what we have to do going forward.
You counted yourselves out of a hole last year, when you got into the stretch. Does that make it any better or easier to know you can do it?
Yeah. The guys that were here, we know how we did it. And then, like I said, it's doing the little things right, not beating yourselves. And everybody else, though, we have the mental makeup to overcome anything. And I truly believe that. I believe that's the group that we have. I believe that we can overcome a lot and take it one day at a time, one game at a time. And I'd be damned if I give up on this group. I won't.
Well, Baker, you don't see any quit in these guys for sure. I mean, you don't sense at all that they're throwing in the towel. And that's because this league has so much parity in it and things change from week to week. They just do. The one thing is not changing is how much this defense is giving up. That's not changing.
And perhaps, listen, we're doing this the day of, again, we're pre-recording this. So this is happening a few hours after this game has ended. So I usually don't have my day to sort of like sit on it a little bit and really digest myself. So maybe that's why I'm a little bit more doom and gloom. I will point out, like you said, I acknowledge the fact that the second half of the schedule lightens up. I also acknowledge the fact that the first half of the Bucs schedule, if you look at the records of the teams they've played, Washington is 6-2, Detroit is 6-1, Denver's 5-3, Philly's 5-2.
Yep.
Atlanta's 5-3 and Baltimore's 5-3. So the one let-up game you had was against New Orleans, and you absolutely throttled them for 3 of the 4 quarters. So if you want to like spin it back to optimism, you've played, 7 really good teams, and you've gone my math. Oh, here I go now.
You're 4-4. You're 4-4.
You're 4-4. You've essentially split against all these really good teams.
Should be 6-2.
You should have the win over Atlanta in week 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And this game was certainly winnable as well. So to spin it back towards the optimism, I think that's a thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like the Baltimore game was a blowout. You're never in that game. The Denver game was weird. I mean, it was a weird game. It's a week after an emotional win. It was,
and Denver's a good football team right now.
Denver's a good football team, and they hadn't showed anything to that point. But still, your defense makes everybody look great. They got to fix it in some way. And like I said, when you say fix it, they don't have to go from 31st to 4th. They got to go from 31st to 15th, even 20th, and they can win games. They just can't be this bad. When you're scoring 30 points a game, you don't have to be great to win games. You just got to make some plays. Yeah. And in 2 weeks in a row, they've had opportunities to jump on fumbles and score touchdowns.
Oh my goodness, play.
And they had it, and I haven't seen the all 22 yet, but the fact that Darnell Mooney came back and really kicked that ball out of the end zone or kept the Bucs from recovering it in the end zone, I don't know where the hell he came from, but that was got to be one hell of an aware play for him as a wide receiver to come back that far behind the line of scrimmage and get in the mix. I think when we see the all 22, we're going to marvel at that. But that's what they made a play. The Bucs have not been able to contribute, make a big. When's the last big play they made on defense?
I mean, we already talked about it. The Winfield play was the play.
It was the play. It was the play. But even that play though.
That's a very
he has to make an amazing play because your defense just got up another gaping explosive play.
Yeah, because Kyle Pitts is running wide open again.
Into the great wide open. We need a fourth quarter song. Maybe that'll be.
Like you ever see anybody come right off the edge and strip sack and pick it up and take it the other way? Like you don't ever see that.
An interception. Can we get a pick? Can we get a pick?
No, you don't. You can't get any of these.
Did we even break up a pass today? Were we close enough to breaking up a pass today? I don't know. All right. So I think we've pretty much exhausted our take on the Buccaneers, and I want to move on to a couple other things.
Oh, let's move to more crappy football while we're at it.
Let's finish up the NFL. We'll take a break and come back and do the college and the Bolts afterwards. So, the biggest play obviously is the Bears Washington game. Comes down to a Hail Mary. Jaden Daniels throws it 65 yards. By the way, Baker, throw it into the end zone or the front of the end zone, not out of the back of the end zone. Okay? Because
Hail Mary 101s.
Rock Jarrett actually came down with the ball.
He did.
Out of bounds. I mean, throw the ball in the middle or the front of the end zone, not the back. Jiminy Christmas. So he throws a great ball, Jaden Daniels does, and what's really crazy, have you seen the angle of
Tyreek Stevenson? Yeah.
Oh, my God. I think I just retweeted that. See if I can pull that up. He's like, oh, my God, he just tweeted something. Tyreek Stevenson just tweeted, "To Chicago and teammates, my apologies for lack of awareness and focus. The game ain't over until the zeros hit the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken, improvement will happen." Well, at least he's owning it. I guess that's something, right? So anyway, he's dicking around with the fans on the side while the play's already started. He's like looking into the stands going, "What are you going to do? Let's hear you." And then he runs over while in the middle of the Hail Mary and tips the ball up and in the back of the end zone. I forget who caught it for Washington, but they win the game on Hail Mary. Yeah, and Noah Brown. And the place just goes bonkers. And Washington gets a win that they should never have had against the Bears. So instant
the Dan
karma
Snyder
there.
curse has officially been lifted.
Yeah, how about that? Dan Quinn gets his first big Hail Mary of his career. Jameis beats Lamar. Jameis throws for what? 3 touchdowns and 330 yards?
Yes, and Deshaun Watson had not thrown a 300-yard game at all in a Cleveland uniform.
And maybe Jameis's luck is changing because on that game-winning drive, he throws a pick to Kyle Hamilton, who just he threw it right to him.
He also had another one he threw to the end zone and it was classic Jameis where he had so much time and like there was nobody open. And it's just like, all right, throw it away, Jameis, throw it away. No, he throws a seed to the end zone directly to a Baltimore defender who drops it in the end zone. So,
oh, my God.
But to your point, yes.
Maybe his luck is changing, but I don't know. I know a lot of people still don't like Jameis. I love the dude.
Did you see his post-game? I should have had his post-game press conference ready to play or on the field because, like, everything Jameis – like it's more so now even than it was in Tampa. Every time Jameis gets asked a question, it feels like he's like prepping, like he's already had this like prepped and prepared. Like it's like a performance for like a movie or something. He does. Yeah. Like it's like
he writes the stuff out before.
And like I think whoever with the CBS sideline reporter was asking him about, you got your shot today and whatever, and he goes, to quote a great man from Detroit, Eminem,
yeah,
and he goes and does the song, what is it? Lose Yourself, right?
Yeah. You only get one shot.
Yeah. He just happened to have that on standby for that moment.
Thought he was going to blurt out Mom Spaghetti, but he didn't get quite that far.
He didn't get too far. But on the real though, how can you not just love watching Jameis? He's great content. He's great entertainment. But I feel really good for him though, because I think he's been getting dogged by this league for the last 3 years.
I do too.
When there's some bad quarterbacks every single week. And I think clearly the guy's worthy enough to be a starter. So shout out to him.
The Patriots break their 6-game losing streak, beating the
Jets.
Yeah, I thought Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers were going to rewrite the
Aaron Rodgers
books.
All Aaron Rodgers needed was one more best friend, JP. I think he needs one more best friend. I think we're one best friend short. I think he needs to go get Jordy Nelson out of retirement. I really do.
Are you kidding me?
I think he needs to find Mercedes. I think Mercedes Lewis is still playing. I think he needs to get him out into a gang green uniform. Like I think he just doesn't have enough friends.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers,
what
you
a
will never
disaster that is. Yeah, never. Excuse me, having a little bit of an allergy attack there. What are the other headlines in the NFL that caught your eye?
I had the scores up here. Hold on.
Jordan Love hurt again.
A little bit of some he got hurt early in the game, and then he came right back in. And then Matt LaFleur literally told the broadcast, "Yeah, he can't really move." And they continued to play him, and then shocker, he got hurt again. So don't love that. Probably my biggest interesting thing today was the Eagles. They just completely thrashed the Bengals. It's like the Bengals won 2 games in a row, and it's like it looks like they're showing signs, and then they just go and get beat again like this at home. I think they're 0-4 at home this year. The Bengals are, and they're 3-5. I mean, that's a tough hole to get out of. But the Eagles, my goodness, all the noise around Nick Sirianni, and he's just gone out and won 3 straight games.
Yeah, isn't that crazy how that works?
Yeah, actually, the craziest thing was the Lions won the game 52-14 over the Titans, and they had 61 passing yards. At one time in this game, they had 9 passing yards, and the score was 42 to 9 or something like that.
Wow! Did you see this cheap shot by Cam Jordan on?
Oh yes,
Justin Herbert. Look at that.
Oh, yes.
Watch the reaction from the offensive line. I love that. Love that. Yeah. The Saints are just so dirty. They're so freaking dirty. And it's just brutal. Just brutal.
For a bad football team too.
Yeah. All right. We'll take our final break. When we come back, we're going to hit the colleges, have some interesting comments from Mario Cristobal following the stomping of Florida State and some other interesting things from the college game this weekend. Big thanks to the folks at thirdgenerationplumbing.com for sponsoring this wonderful broadcast. If you are in need of an air conditioner, they do AC as well. They do all kinds of home repairs, by the way. So if you need some stuff done from the hurricane damage, you're having a hard time finding somebody, it's a great local company, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They do just about everything, including AC units. So if you need a new AC unit because yours got flooded, they have plenty on order that you can get right away. They'll install it, and of course you can trust them. They've been in business since 1995 here. John Rodriguez, the owner, absolutely awesome dude, and they are to be trusted. A lot of fly-by-night companies coming in after hurricane. thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Back in 3. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you can find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love.
Hey, Tampa Bay sports fans. This is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
I am most definitely stopping into Cafe Paradiso this week. I'm just absolutely jonesing for some lasagna and some branzino and some good Italian food, traditional Italian food. Cafe Paradiso, go there. Tell them JP sent you. All right. Well, the big game in the state this week was Florida State and Miami. Of course, the Hurricanes put it on Florida State 36-14, little charity touchdown at the end, little backdoor cover or bad beat if you bet on Miami. How is that possible? I mean, seriously, leading him down. I think it was Brock at the end of the game who leads him down.
It was, yeah.
Second down, I'm watching it, on my phone while I'm doing my Ron Burgundy thing at the Lightning. I have to mention that.
Wait,
and I'm looking on it.
Time out. Now I just thought of this. You were at a Lightning game.
Yeah.
You get to watch an actual good team play at their sport in the building, and you still willingly whipped out your phone and said, you know what, I'm going to watch some Florida State football.
Yeah. In the breaks, I'm watching hockey, but I'm keeping an eye on it.
Anyway, continue.
And since I had a little investment interest in it, I'm like, okay, so we're covering at this point. But then Florida State's like going down the field. It's fourth down, and Brock somehow escapes and gets and runs for the first down. I'm like, okay, that was money in my pocket, and you son of a bitch. Now you're running for first downs like you're for Lamar Jackson. So then they get down to like the 10-yard line, 5-yard line, and they run a little pick, and guy's wide open in the end zone. Brock makes a great throw. I think it was Ja'Kai, drops it.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah. You're right.
Was it Ja'Kai?
I think
He drops it, hits him right in the chest. He drops a touchdown pass. But there's still 10 seconds left, and he comes back 2 plays later. I think it was fourth down. Hits him on the same play, and this time he catches it for the backdoor cover. Effing me. Out of $50, you jerks. But whatever. I digress. Listen, I thought, it's great to see Brock and Luke playing. I thought Luke Kromenhoek, their quarterback of the future, I think, had a couple of big runs, made some big throws behind this god awful great Knights of Columbus. This is a horrible offensive line. It is just, it's so bad. And then, I don't even know where to begin with Florida State. It was, again, stupid penalties, stupid mistakes. They are from a hot football IQ standpoint, they are the dumbest team I've ever seen. But I think I've seen some. I thought Miami was going to score 70 points on them. I really did. So I think their defense actually played pretty well, and held Cam Ward to 212 yards passing. Now, Damian Martinez had 148 yards of rushing on 15 carries, like 10 yards per carry. So, but I saw some good things from Omar Graham and Nicholson, their inside linebacker. So you're just looking for some of their young freshman receivers actually caught the football. So I think I'm seeing some positives in this completely lost season. And Miami is obviously the class, and they're up to number 5 now in the AP college football
I believe
poll.
so, yeah.
They're in the top 5, yeah. They're now top 5.
Well, once again, I'll remind you that only 3 teams in the country have a worse offense than Florida State in the country. The mighty Kennesaw State Owls, who somehow beat Liberty.
Yeah.
The Kent State Golden Flashes. And
they're better than FSU.
The mighty Northwestern Wildcats. And also, don't forget, JP, the only team that has scored less points on average than the Florida State Seminoles is the Houston Cougars. But guess what? Florida State has 1 less touchdown than them. So they have the fewest amount of touchdowns in the country.
It's just so inexcusable on so many levels. It's so baffling.
It's reached the point where, like, I watch the games now, and you ever watch it and it's so bad you can't turn it off, and it makes you laugh out loud.
Like what? Yeah, it's like
I'm laughing. Like, it doesn't.
Train wreck. You can't
it's
take
not
your
so
eyes
bad where I'm just like, I don't want to watch this. No, I can't stop watching, and that's goes back to this part where we started here. Is it a mental illness that we have that we're laughing at it?
Yeah,
we just won't turn it off.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll say, and I don't know how much it would matter, but I mean, Lawrence Toafili had 6 touches in this game. I mean, that's pretty unacceptable to me.
The guy should have 25 touches a game. He's your only playmaker out there that you can count on. And we're just, and maybe it's because he wants to play Cam, the younger player, but come on. Teofili's earned it.
Did not play in this game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, brutal. And here's after the game, and this is the same, Mario Cristobal, who beat Florida and was doing the Gator chomp after the game. Classless dude. So on brand for Miami. And this is, from a coach that's never won, from a team that's never won the ACC championship in 20 years. 20 years.
They've never
won an ACC championship. Yeah,
they've never won the ACC.
Yeah, they've been in it for 20 years, never won it. Okay. You're a team that's been had losing seasons, I believe, the last 3 years? I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And so suddenly you got a quarterback. You paid him enough. You got him to come to Miami, and you're really, really good. You're a good team. Yeah. But it goes in cycles. It goes in cycles, especially in this state. And you're a moron if this is what you're going to say to the press and the recruits afterwards, in my opinion.
It's in-state, out-of-state, can now clearly see the trajectory of this program versus the trajectory of the other programs.
Drop the mic. Hit the podium.
Drop.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Let's hear it again.
Can now clearly see the trajectory of this program versus the trajectory of the other programs.
Good for you. Good for you. Come on, man. You wait till you win something. Wait till you win something. How many years have you done this? And if not for 2 ridiculous calls that went your way from the ACC offices, you'd have 2 losses. You'd have 2 losses.
Oh,
I'll sit up there pounding the podium.
Here's my question.
You got your ass handed to you by FSU last year and the year previous, and now suddenly you got a quarterback and you're crowing.
Here's my question though. Where's the lie?
Shut up.
Where's the lie?
Hey, look, I'm here to tell you the Gators. I'd like to see these 2 teams play now. I think it might be a different story. They go back to Gainesville.
I mean, we can't
be pumping up the Gators. That's how bad it's become.
We can't overreact on Florida because they trashed Kentucky. We can't do that.
They should have beat Tennessee.
Oh, we'll see what happens against Georgia.
They should have beat Tennessee.
We'll see with Georgia this weekend. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see on them.
I'm anxious to see it.
It's true though.
I want to give Billy Napier and the Gators some attaboys. They've turned their defense around. I think they're playing a lot of young kids, and the kids are answering.
Well, listen though,
I like it.
Chris Ball still didn't lie. Miami's the top program in the state of Florida right now.
Yeah, right now.
You are right.
Cam's leaving, by the way. Cam's leaving, by the way.
Yeah, but they're also recruiting at just a insanely high level right now. None of the other Florida schools are doing that.
Florida State is losing guys. Lost a top 100 wide receiver. Now they have no wide receivers in their class, so they got that going for them. All right, so a real quick overview of the top 25. Oregon beats Illinois 38-19. That was a stomping. And Illinois, they were previously ranked 21st. They're playing well this year. So that was an eye opener. I thought Oregon now 8-0. Georgia's number 2. They were off this week, as you mentioned. They got the Gators coming up this week. Penn State beats Wisconsin 28-13. They're 7-0 and ranked number 3rd, but they're going to lose.
They got Ohio State next week.
Yeah, Ohio State next week, who beat Nebraska barely 21-17. Indiana throttles Nebraska, and Ohio State is struggling with a bad Nebraska team. Miami's 5th. Obviously, they beat FSU. Texas. I didn't see any of this game. Did you see the Vanderbilt coverage?
I was trying to watch.
Had Vandy 17.
Yeah, I was watching some of it up in the press box on Saturday, and I mean Vandy's a very tough team to deal with. Obviously, it's a good football team. Yeah, Diego Pavia. Texas. I mean, they scored late, like I think with under a minute left to make it 27-24. So it was going to be a 2-score victory. But regardless, I mean, they're playing everybody tough right now.
So Texas 7-1, but that beatdown by Georgia kind of looms, doesn't it? But obviously, they're still very much in the playoff hunt. Notre Dame at number 8 moves up 4 spots to number 8.
Boy,
7-1. Their only loss. Who'd they lose to? Oh,
Northern Illinois.
How about that?
That was it.
They smoked Navy, previously undefeated Navy, 51-14. That was impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah, and then the sneaky most impressive team in the country right now is Texas A&M. Big win at home against LSU, who had been rolling coming in. Texas A&M lost the first game of the season to Notre Dame, and since then has gone 7-0.
Mike Elko.
Mike Elko's doing a hell of a job. I think A&M's they're a player right now.
Yeah, they are. BYU moves up to number 9, spanking UCF, who was favored in this game. Why was UCF favored in this game? They lose 30.
So they could allow me to make money.
Oh, good. Nicely done. A&M jumps into the top 10 with their win over LSU 38-23. LSU doing LSU things. Clemson was off this week. They fell 2-11, but they're 6-1. They're 6-1 and heading to a collision course with Miami in the ACC championship. They're fighting Rocco Beck's Iowa State up to 11. Indiana 8-0 now. They're beating Washington 31-17. Another impressive win by Cignetti. Yeah, absolutely. Alabama blanks Missouri 34-0. Missouri was beat up. They had some key injuries, but Alabama rights their ship. Still at 6-2 though. At the 14th, Boise State moves up 2-15 with a escaping a win over UNLV 29-24. LSU falls to 16, falls 8 spots to 16 in their loss to A&M. Kansas State's up to 17. They barely survived Kansas 29-27. Pittsburgh is 7-0, and they smoked Syracuse. Pittsburgh's 7-0.
Yeah, they've got 7-1 SMU next week, I believe.
I believe they do. Yeah. Ole Miss beat Oklahoma 26-14. SMU, as you mentioned, beat Duke 28-27 at Duke. So they're 7-1. Army was off this week, 7-0. They could be your group of 5 representative. Washington State 7-1. Washington State 7-1 beat San Diego State 29-26. How about Colorado? Dion, it's quiet. Can I say quietly? Colorado was 6-2 with the win over Cincinnati 34-23. I watched a little bit of that game. That place was packed, by the way. They are making money hand over fist in Colorado now. That place used to be dead. Now it's packed to the gills, and they got all this signage and companies. I mean, it's unbelievable how much signage they have and sponsors at Colorado. They're making money, and they're pretty good. What do you think of Colorado?
Well, the change is defensively. They're playing so much better. They've done a really good job this year at fixing that, and obviously we know the problems they present offensively. I mean, Travis Hunter just continues to do just Travis Hunter things. It's just, again, he's a unicorn. And Shadur Sanders is probably going to be your first quarterback off the board in the draft. So
yeah,
the way he's playing. So yeah, Colorado deserves the hype now, but in a weird way, like you said, they're doing this under the radar.
Yeah, which is hard to believe. And they're at Texas Tech next week. They're not very good, Texas Tech. So that should be a dub for them. So they could roll into the Big 12 championship game, could they not?
We'll see. BYU and Iowa State are both undefeated, obviously.
Yeah.
So one of them.
Do they play those teams? I'm looking for their.
No, they don't.
Schedule.
In fact, BYU has like one of the easier schedules remaining on paper. So
interesting. So that's your weekend in college football. The Lightning, by the way, get a 3-0 shutout of the Washington Caps, who came in Saturday night on a 5-game winning streak. Vassie was fantastic. Connor Geekie got his first NHL goal, a nice one too, a real goal scorer's goal with a wicked little wrister there. So who else scored? Chafee scored as well on a redirect from Nick Paul. So that bottom 6 getting some points on the board, which is much, much needed. But the Lightning looked great defensively, really, really locked down Washington and did a fantastic job. And Vassie made some huge saves, so that was great. But the highlight of the night was clearly my Ron Burgundy imitation. Went over very, very well. If you haven't seen any of the disgusting pictures on my social media, I actually got a couple of videos too. So yeah, it was very well received. I was very proud of my drunken Ron Burgundy performance. I was not drunk though. I was drinking what looked like scotch. But it was fun. Had a good time with it. What else? Oh, Stamkos coming back tonight. Wow, this is going to be. So I was talking with Brian Engblom about this, and he was traded a couple times and went back to. And I said, what's it like? He goes, it's awful. He goes, it's awful coming back to your team. He goes, I said, Stamkos is probably not looking forward to it. He said, I would doubt it. You would think like, wow, he's coming back, but think about it. It's so fresh still, and he wanted to stay. Although a lot of people think that he wouldn't. He said no to the contract, whatever it is. I just think it's going to be really, really weird for him. And I think it's going to be really, really hard for him. And he's not off to a good start. He's a -6. He scored 1 goal. The team is 2-6. So they're not off to a good start. It's not like he can come back and, act like he's, this has been a great, great move for him. It just hasn't turned out to be that yet. And, I think the Lightning, where they're at right now, I think they 5-3 in their first 8?
5-3, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I think they've played well. I think they played very well at times. They played some good teams. I think Gensel has fit in tremendously well, has great chemistry with that top line. Now that second line with Geeky on it exploded for Hagel, had a hat trick the other night. I mean, they've really become a dangerous line. So I like it. They got rid of Connor Sheary, so they're going to get some of these young kids up here to get a little bit more seasoning. And I think the Lightning are definitely going to make some moves at the deadline to add some scoring. So I like where they're at right now. I like the way they're playing. John Cooper seems to be very happy with what he's seen so far. So
do you know that they are? They're the only team in the Atlantic Division with a positive goal differential this season.
No, I did not know that.
Actually, I take it back. They were one of 2 because Ottawa's +1, which is weird because Ottawa's in the bottom of the standings, but they have a +1 goal differential.
Weird.
But never mind. It's because they played less games than everybody. But anyway, the Lightning, though, are +7. Like, even the Panthers are on top right now. They have exactly a 0 goal differential, and they're 6-3-1.
Wow.
And that was what jumped out to me. Like, the Lightning have allowed the least amount of goals of any team so far in the Atlantic Division. To me, that's the big key of the difference so far, is I feel like in general, their 5-on-5 play has been a lot better, whereas special teams, they're still sort of coming around there. But I'll accept that, though.
All right, my friend. Nice job. We'll report back tomorrow on all the festivities of Stamkos night. We'll get hope to have Scott Reynolds on tomorrow. We'll see if I can get Eric Erlinson to join us as well. So we'll talk some Lightning. Todd Bowles, his seat's probably getting a little bit warm at this point, but I expect a little turnaround from his team in the second half. And we'll see if they're going to make a deal this week. Should be fun. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube page and at the JP Peterson Show on Twitter, my new Twitter. And we will see you on Tuesday.